Hi there, I'm Clara Bellino, and I am here today. I have the pleasure, the honor, the little bit of the nerves to be interviewing somebody who is a seasoned interviewer amongst many other activities of his. And so, just a little preface. I'm what's the word? Broadcasting today from Eclectic Gallery in Oakland, California. And so in the background, you see some of the artwork that we have here. And the purpose of this show, this is our second volume for a series that my team and I decided to start, and it's called Time to Turn the Tables. I decided to call it that because I've been interviewed, supported, reviewed by, and worked with many people, and I decided to turn the tables and actually to interview some of the people who have interviewed me or worked with me. And so far it's been really exciting because we've just, find out all kinds of things about people that you don't know if the only way you relate with them is when they interview you or support you. So today I have the pleasure of introducing and interviewing Paul Freeman. Paul Freeman is a self-described jack of all trades, which means that as far as pertaining to the music business, Paul is a singer-songwriter. He's also been a reviewer of art and entertainment for many different reviews, including the LA Times and the Contra Costa Times and the SF Chronicle. And Paul, feel free to correct me if I said anything sideways. And so in the process, he has interviewed many different people, many artists who I would have loved to have the pleasure to meet. And now has a site called Pop Culture Classics, but I will let him rather tell you the story. And so, hi, Paul. First of all, welcome.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, it's a pleasure to talk with you, Clara.
Thank you. You as well. You and I have known each other for, I think, since the mid-90s, which was, I think, the first time that you interviewed me as an advance on a show I was doing after the release of an album. And we have kept in touch since then, which to me is pretty amazing. Part of why I decided to interview you, other than the fact that I really love how you write, is actually that when you write, we all know about critics who write, but somehow just put people down. And I love that it seems like you write about people where you find the good things to say about what it is that they do. Not to say that you never have constructive criticism, but let's start with first things first. So, how were you introduced to music, and when did you know that it had to be, or possibly would always be, part of your life?
Well, when I was a little kid, I was watching Elvis and Ricky Nelson on TV and imitating them with my toy guitar. And then I guess I was about 12 when the British invasion erupted, and that changed my life. I became obsessed with music. I got a real guitar and started writing songs and music. For an introvert, I mean, that was my escape. It was my form of self-expression, and I knew it was going to be a big part of my life in one way or another.
Wonderful. And how did being a songwriter lead you to writing about music, and what motivated you mostly to do that as well?
Well, it just totally out of the blue. I had this opportunity to review films for a local paper, and then that mushroomed into writing for syndicates and magazines, and I was interviewing film stars and directors. It was surreal. And then soon I was asking editors, hey, could I write some music stories for you? And then I was interviewing many of my idols, from the early rockers to members of all the British invasion bands to songwriters like Carole King and Man and Weil and Burt Bacharach, Jimmy Webb. And that was really fulfilling and inspiring to be able to do that.
What a colorful, I mean, to be both a musician, a songwriter, and to be able to talk with these people is just so special. It's so precious because obviously not every songwriter gets to also talk with so many musical influences and idols and
I felt very privileged, yes.
I bet that's awesome. And so I know you please mention to us some of the reviews that you wrote for, and also at what point did you decide, and what are a couple of the reasons that you decided to start your own review site? Because you now have Pop Culture Classics, which is a site unto its own. But how did you get there?
Well, yeah, I'd written for all these different publications as a freelancer over the years, and then sometimes the editor would say, "Oh, nobody remembers that artist," or "Nobody cares about them anymore." Well, I did.
Uh-huh.
So I decided to set up my own website, popcultureclassics.com, several years ago. And then I was able to interview a lot more of the artists I most admired in film and music and comedy and television. And then eventually I wanted to spread the word about modern artists whose work I admired. So I added a review column so I could showcase contemporary material I admired, like your new Unexpected album, for instance.
Thank you. Thank you. I have to say in passing, I really love you were one of the first reviewers to review the album, and I really love what you wrote. And it just goes to what I was saying, which is I love that you, well, I know you've told me when we've discussed this before that if you don't like the album, you just don't write about it. And I may be paraphrasing a bit, but I love the way you write, which is in such a supportive way, and also, you know, it finds the essence of what so many different kinds of music are doing. It's not necessarily genre specific, but and so I want to thank you for that. But I also I love that you review so many different kinds of music. And can I ask you also, what are you currently working on musically, and what would you like people listening here to do now that they have heard some of your story? What would be you know, the outcome of this interview for you is, for us, it's obviously to expose you, to tell more people about you. And what are you currently working on, and what would you like the audience, people listening, to know?
Well, I would love them to check out the interviews on popcultureclassics.com, but also, yeah, my music. I mean, probably about 10 years ago, I did a children's album with my wife, Wendy Flower. It was kind of, you know, reflecting the positive messages of the 60s for kids. And then her music that she had done back like in the late 60s, early 70s with her sister, Wendy and Bonnie, was reissued, became a cult thing. And so we did some shows over in England, and there was this amazing reception, and we just wanted to start writing and recording again. So we did put out a couple of new albums a few years ago, and mine was under the band name Romper, and the album was called Sifting Through the Rubble. It was kind of a dark political indie rock thing with some macabre humor in it. And then so now we're working on new stuff, and within the next month or so, hope to be recording, and my new stuff will be a little more singer-songwritery. So it took a long time for me to get to the debut. I had a recording contract when I was 19, and then that company went bankrupt. So it was only like 40 years delayed, but I'm still making music.
Hey, that's wonderful. It's never too late, and you have all kinds of inspiration to draw from. And
Yes.
I understand, I mean, a little bit about your wife, Wendy Flowers, who's Flower or Flowers? I'm sorry.
Flower, singular.
Flower. Yes. I know that she's a bit of an icon herself, and so you live in the midst of some music royalty, I'm going to call her.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yes.
And tell us a little bit more about her, and then we'll go on to you know, making sure that people can connect with you and your album, and look forward to what you're going to be releasing here.
Well, we actually had met back then, like in 1970. It was this label, Sky Records, that was all these legendary jazz artists to decide to put themselves in the position of being in charge of the label and having complete artistic control. And then they wanted to get into pop. So they released the Wendy and Bonnie album, and then I was going to be the second album. So Cal Jader, who was one of the partners, he introduced us. And unfortunately, they went bankrupt just as they were starting to promote the Wendy and Bonnie album, and before I could record. But we got to know each other then we met again like 20-some years later. And
Oh, wow.
And the album had this cult following. And then when it was re-released, it kind of mushroomed into I mean, Super Furry Animals, they used part of one of their songs, and then Wendy was able to fulfill a dream by singing with them on stage. They invited her to sing with them at the Fillmore.
Wow.
And then uh, other bands like Stereo Lab and Broadcast, wonderful Broadcast, they were into Wendy and Bonnie as well. And so we made friends with a lot of these people, and they were also very inspiring to me because they were encouraging and such great true artists, all of them.
Wow. And the name of the album?
Her original album was Genesis, Wendy and Bonnie, but then she put out an album. When I did the Romper album, she has an album called New.
Mm-hmm. Which is the one you sent me, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I love that album. I've been listening to it here at Eclectique at the gallery. It's just wonderful feeling. The melodies are just really enchanting, and I've really been enjoying that album too. Yeah, so that's awesome, and my God, you met, and then it took 20 more years. I thought you had been together that whole time, but so you stayed in touch, and in spite of the fact that your album didn't see the light of day then, it was not at all a loss, because you stayed connected and obviously are now continuing and being creative together and apart, which is wonderful. And so I'm really excited to hear your new album. I know you've done the demos for it so far, and you hope to be in the studio in the coming month or so. And so one more time, I mean, we've mentioned Pop Culture Classics, which is your wonderful review site, and we want to direct people, and we will mention that when we promote this interview. What other site would you like people to, I have just a couple more questions. What other site would you like people to go check out? And are you open to people submitting albums to you, sending in your music, or, I mean, any and all of the above? This is your call to action. What do you want people to, how do you want people to be in touch with you? About what?
Well, for my music, you can go to cdbaby.com. There's the Romper Sifting Through the Rebel album there. You can hear all the snippets, or you can go to SoundCloud and actually hear the full tracks. Yeah. Or Facebook, Romper Band is, has the news and all about the band. Yeah. And then as far as Pop Culture Classics, we welcome artists to contact us. There's on the site, you'll see there's an email address. You can contact us. There's also a P.O. box where you can actually send CDs or DVDs, whatever you're interested in promoting, and we'll certainly give a listen or give a watch. And we'd love to hear new stuff.
Awesome. So you're open to hard copies, not just MP3s. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'm old school. Too old school, but
it's nice to know that you're all inclusive. And so, Paul, thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you, Clara,
for sharing your information about you. I just, I didn't quite understand when I started this Time to Turn the Tables how, I mean, I know I wanted to give back to the people who have been supportive of me, but it's really opened my mind about, not opened my mind, but just my eyes. We deal with people, oh, you're a reviewer, and we've known each other for a while, so I know that that's not all you do, but it's just really fascinating to be reminded that, I came to music however I came to music, but whatever aspect of the music world we are in, all of us, for the most part, do it because of a love of music, and that's usually the thing that ignites the beginning. And so I wish you awesome. I think it's never too late. I'm really excited that you are recording, even if, you were hoping to release that album when you were 19. It's going to be a different one now, and I'm sure that much the richer. And so thank you so much. And I'm going to pause this recording now, and you and I can say goodbye after it's off. I mean, we can say goodbye now. But
wonderful talking with you. I've enjoyed watching your musical evolution, and I'm looking forward to sharing the demos with you soon.
Yes. Thank you. I would love to be part of it in whatever way I can. So thank you so much, and thanks for all your support and being here today. And we're gonna send this this particular interview. We're gonna promote it wherever we have access, and I hope that it leads to a lot of people being in touch with you. So here I am going to stop the recording now. Thank you again.